What's good? What's good? Past podcast, back at it again. Running it a little solo, a little different, but as the saying goes, the show must go on. Had a little bit of a technical delay. I was supposed to be. I arrived here at my normal venue of where I do my podcast, and I got here. Was like, all right, I'm ready to do my podcast. Walked in. Well, got out of the car. Got to the other side of my car. Realized I didn't have my microphone. So I had to go back, kind of push the late a little bit. Nonetheless, we're moving forward. Giving everybody a little bit of an update, a little bit of a kind of a teaser, and just me being me. I've been kind of slow with my process, but it's been coming together. I say this each week, and I'm going to keep saying it. Anyone who takes time, whether it's listening to the full episode or just taking time to share the episodes or download the episodes, trust and believe it's appreciated. I kind of got a little bit of time to stall, and I'll explain why in a moment. I've made quite a huge upgrade, and this was just luck of the draw, things kind of going the way they did. So initially, as most of you know, those of you who have been listening, to give you a bit of a history, I guess it's a history lesson. Normally, when I first started this podcast, episodes typically would last 30 minutes. So I had 30 minutes, get on the mic, get the show done, uploaded, ready, done, finished. Now, let me make sure I'm giving you the correct information. They made a change, basic package, the basic free package for Spreaker. So this is me doing the shameless plug, and I'll get to that as well. The episodes were then reduced to you could only do 15-minute episodes, and you were limited to a space to use for storing your episode. So I decided to kind of go ahead and jump up, make some changes, and in hindsight and in the long haul, I ended up getting my episodes now up to 45. I then was able to get my episodes to 45 minutes. Well, 45 minutes works, but the problem is if you have a 45-minute episode and you're trying to get as many topics as you can in that episode, sometimes it can go exceptionally well. Other times it can go horrendously wrong. Typically the latter occurs, and because of that, it's been teaching me to make changes as needed. So what I've done, which is a huge step up, is I've added more space to the podcast. So now I have more storage to store more episodes for this podcast. But the big story is now I can do episodes as long as 3 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all in advance, if I ever do an episode longer than 2 hours, it's going to be because either number one, I have a hot topic that I want to get out there and I think can push a worthwhile 2-hour conversation, or number two, it's something that I really am deep and passionate about, which kind of ties into number one. But point being, we're making changes for the better, and I will be starting this week, and every week thereafter, I will be giving credibility where it's due. So since I'm doing so, and I've kind of consumed a decent amount of time, as in nearly 4 minutes in presenting, I'll go ahead and state that my podcast, I am sponsored. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm sponsored, but one of my brands that I do use is the Blue Yeti microphone. So Blue Microphone, shout out to you guys. Love this microphone. I said it in a few episodes back when I first started the podcast with this microphone, and it's not let me down yet. I've been kind of testing it and teasing it by using other programs to run, just kind of manage my recording, and each one the sound quality is pretty crisp and pretty clear. So shout out to Blue Microphone for that, and also Spreaker.com if you are looking to do podcasting and it's something you may have a passion in doing. I mean, everyone has different sites that they prefer. Spreaker for me works if you're just starting out, but also if you're looking to really invest and get your brand of your podcast going. I also have an announcement I'll be presenting hopefully by Monday. I'm going to cross my fingers. By Monday, I should have I'll have a possible design that's going to be linked to the podcast, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to kind of get the plugs and the stories in there first before I get too nitty gritty with the topics that are on hand. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. First time for everything. As I mentioned last week is this month. As I mentioned last week, this month is International Women's Month. And thanks to that, I have chosen another female artist who is a classic to me. She's is called, literally her style of music is neoclassic soul. She was an independent artist, and that's the one and only India.Arie. One of her hit singles that a lot of people knew about was Video, and that was on her first album, which was called Acoustic Soul. And I got my friend coming on in. Got my bro coming on in. I'm going to change the mic up because I know he's been running late, so went out on purpose. So I'll get him to get set up, and I'll just kind of be talking. So if you see him rumbling and ruffling, I know March Madness is going on, so you got a good excuse.
My bad.
Nah, you good. Well, I improv, so I had messaged you. I was letting you know what's going on, but nonetheless, neither here nor there. If you sent me a message just now, I probably won't get it. And trust me, I'm still recording. So go ahead and prep and set up. I'm just gonna kind of be fluffing through some stories. Right now, like I said, we're talking about India.Arie. She was a very successful face of the neoclassic soul community in music. She was a songwriter who played the guitar like it was second nature. Her kickoff of it started in high school. She did win 4 Grammy Awards. She had a pretty solid career. She had 5 consecutive placements in the top 10 of the Billboard 200, which to me is a huge mark. She was born in Denver. Parents were from Memphis and Detroit. In high school, India.Arie did gain her passion for music, playing the guitar, along with her mother encouraging her. And this kind of ties into, and I'm gonna let Dimitri hop in, so I'm gonna pass it in for a second.
I think what you're gonna say kind of ties into a later topic. I think so.
Yes.
She kind of has like a peaceful type of flow, you could say.
Yes.
It sounds like she's kind of found like her inner peace with a few of her songs. You know what I mean? Like I Am Not My Hair. Like I Am Light. So it seems like she has that type of flow, and I like her songs.
Yeah.
Definitely soul.
So yeah, that's what I'm a big India.Arie fan solely because she kind of set the foundation for neo soul and kind of getting it out there and getting the word in. So a lot of people don't know, and this is kind of like, I guess, BT 101. I always do this like every so often, and this week's BT 101, believe it or not, is I personally have a passion of music because a lot of people know I listen to a lot of music, but believe it or not, coming up in high school, well, showing my age. Coming up in elementary school, everybody played the recorder. That was a given. But I played a lot of instruments. I played flute. I played alto sax. I played tenor sax. So I've always had a tie to music. So being able to play a guitar, I have no knowledge of playing that. But she did guitar. Like I said, Acoustic Soul was the first album. It was released under an independent label known as Earthshare. She was well known for wanting her music to be perfect and stand out. She was in my personal opinion, she was a huge perfectionist when it came to music. Her second album was Voyage to India. To kind of spin back to the first album, she dedicated a song on that album to an artist that I did for an artist spotlight for Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder was a big part of her musical motivation. She actually performed with him during the Songs in the Key of Life tour, and like I said, on Acoustic Soul, she had a song called Wonderful. Album 3 was Testimony Volume 1, which was Life and Relationship. That album did hit number 1 on all genre Billboard 200 the first moment of opportunity that it happened. I know Dimitri's like, wait, Brian, you gonna let me jump in and say?
No, you're good. You're good.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give you the disclaimer now. I'm gonna have my kind of do my sports. I'll probably do my techie talk for a little bit. You gonna jump over. You gonna take over when it comes to the Lakers because That's the meat and potatoes, and that's your team. So I'm gonna let you have that one all the way.
That should be fun.
So like I said, she did album 3, Testimony, Volume 1, Life and Relationship. Album 4, oddly enough, was called Testimony Volume 2, Love and Politics, released in February 2009. She did change record labels, which was Universal Republic. That debuted number 3 on the Billboard 200. She did take a hiatus from the musical industry for about 4 years. And her final or 5th album, as of now, is called Songversation. And it stands out to me because a lot of people don't know this. She did that. It was another form of a dedication to Stevie Wonder because he has a hit song on his album called Conversation Piece. So, as I said a couple of weeks back, I did Stevie Wonder. So if you want to get a listen to some Stevie, go back and listen to Conversation Piece, and you'll kind of get a general idea why she named that album Songversation. Dimitri, I'm passing to you if you got anything you want to add with this before we chip at the next topic.
Nah, you're good.
Okay. Look, he said, I think you gonna have the trigger finger ready when we start talking about the Lakers, because I'm kind of a little foreign to it only because it's just me. But like I said, we'll get into that in a moment. And this was kind of my wild card. Last weekend there was a tournament, and it's part of the. I'm a nerd when it comes to watching the 2%, known as the fighting game community. There were, okay, let me make sure I count this because it's a lot of tournaments. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was at least 10 tournaments. Street Fighter 5, which is the biggest one. Mm-hmm. The winner of that was Jean, who's from, I want to say Japan. He's a big name over in Japan with the Street Fighter 5 game. There were multiple games that were played. Tekken 7, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago with the podcast with Fated Retribution, which I was still surprised and realizing it's going to be on Xbox One, only because Street Fighter 5 was one console based, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I do have the link shared. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I mainly watched this tournament strictly because of Street Fighter 5, because there were a lot of big names in the tournament. Mm-hmm. Maybe one week we might do some talk about the different artists, or not artists, but the different teams that are in different tournaments. Because, for instance, the Wii U, Smash 4, Wii U, singles and doubles, there are a lot of big teams that are there are a lot of players who are sponsored by certain brands like Evil Geniuses. So fun fact, because I don't know if I've told you this or not. So this is going to kind of, again, be a random 2% knowledge fact. So Rick Fox, of course.
Yeah.
He owns a gaming team. Did not know that. Okay. So Rick Fox has a team called Echo Fox.
Okay.
And he picked up a couple of big names who were in different tournaments, one of them being Street Fighter. He actually had Justin Wong, and I don't think Wong competed in Street Fighter 5 this year in Final Round 20. But Justin Wong is one of his players that he signed to his team. So he has a team for Street Fighter 5. He has some players who do Smash 4 Wii U. I want to say he had some guys who were doing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. They didn't do too well. So that team you really don't hear about too much. And I want to say he has a team in CSGO, between CSGO and League of Legends. So
okay.
It's that odd storyline. So that's why I kind of was like, I really didn't get much tech talk. I've had people around me talk about the new Apple phone. I'm not going to talk about it until it's officially released. Anybody who knows, this with me. I may pull random stories and just kind of get some information, but I'm more so like to flow the stories kind of, in sync as to what we're talking about with everything. So that's why I kind of just was like, I'll give a little bit of a story since I did see final round and caught some matches. But yeah, there were multiple tournaments that did go on. Like I said, I have the results from those matches. A lot of people who are in the Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat will know some of the names. On Mortal Kombat, there's one guy who I always think of. His name is Sonic Fox. He's normally always number one. Reason he stands out, anytime he competes, he always wears a hat that has like a Sonic look to it. So if you ever catch it, it's like I said, it's that I'm nerdy and it's something that I look at, and get into. But that was why I mainly had the final round story thrown in there for final round 20. And this tournament was held in Atlanta, so that's why I was sharing that. And then being an Atlanta fan, I ain't forgot about that either. We were going to do free agent talk. I'm going to say free agent talk for next week because I feel like there's going to be more chaotic free agency stories that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Because the big name still is out there. Of course, Tony Romo. There are always rumors that circulate, but it's like until a story breaks.
He's not a free agent yet, is he though? Right?
Was that he's not a free agent, but I feel like they're trying to play. They're trying to toy with his contract. I feel so. I did announce early, and I've made you aware of it, about the episodes being extended. So we no longer have that 45-minute window, and I'm like pushing, like, okay, wait, we got to finish it. We're done. We got to go. So it'll be a lot easier, and it'll flow more freely with upcoming episodes. So following the theme of the podcast, I'm going to pass it over to you, and I'm kind of going to be the fly on the wall because you will know a little bit more with this because this is, like I said, you're the Lakers guy, and I mean, I'm, like I said, I keep up with the stories, but it was like everything kind of happened like back to back to back, and then it's like stories that add into it because I didn't realize how intense the bus situation was.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you. This is where you literally can like take over the turntables, and if I got questions, I'm gonna just be like, oh. So this brings up a good question. So
you know how they say like a lot of families are dysfunctional?
Yes.
This is one that's definitely dysfunctional with the Bus family. You know how they own the Lakers. They've owned the Lakers for a while now.
Right.
First it was the father who took over the whole
command. Dr. Bus.
Yeah. And then when he passed away, he let Jeannie handle the business side.
Okay.
He wanted his son to handle, actually like the team.
Right.
And he wanted his son to actually have a chance. Jeannie was still the boss, but they all got to share the money, right?
Yeah.
But there was still another son too.
Okay.
They all got to share the money. However, his son wasn't doing too well with the Lakers.
Right.
In which case they gave him 4 seasons, I believe. And all of them have been 4.5 seasons or so.
Yeah.
And then they finally said, you know what, this is enough. After you give contracts to Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng.
Okay, let's talk about that. So this is the first thing I'm gonna jump on because I really wanted to understand the Lakers pickup with this because going back to last season, and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all had Roy Hibbert, which I was concerned about because you caught Roy Hibbert in like an injury-prone year from Indiana.
Let's be real. He hasn't been good since like 14, 13.
Oh, yeah. True. Major facts. I'm not taking, I think, what was it? The 2014 season, the year when they played against, when he was with Indiana and they played against the Heat.
Yeah.
And it was a good competitive run.
So
that was a close year
against them.
Right. So, I mean, it was like, all right, he didn't work out. Send him to Charlotte. Of course, as we talked about a few weeks back, trades sent him to Milwaukee, which is going to be an interesting story we'll talk about later. But, you got now, it's like, all right, new year, we're going to bring in Timothy Mozgov. And I'm thinking, and that first thing in my head was, who?
He's a bench player who we paid extraordinary amount of dollars for.
Yes.
And then Luol Deng, when he's way past his time frame, the Bulls ran him ragged. Mm-hmm. So in which case now he's not as good. And now we're benching them and we're paying them the most, like $72 million for one. $64 million for the other.
Yeah, because I heard they shut down Mozgov, which I thought was smart, but I got a feeling they might let him. Do you think he'll be with LA next year?
How are they gonna get rid of him unless they're just gonna cut him?
Okay.
Because nobody's gonna take that contract.
This is true.
And so with so then Bus got fired.
Right.
We know that. Mm-hmm. And then they brought Magic in. Mm-hmm. Brought Rob Pelinka in as well too.
Yes.
Rob Pelinka's if you don't know, he's the agent for Kobe.
Yes,
that
was a fun fact for me because I did not know that he was in charge. Like he has a lot of, and then he actually was a agent for a lot of big names such as Steph, Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. So that then ties into a unique situation. And I'm asking you this because you know I'm random like this. It's an odd instance that he was running Steph Curry and Durant.
James Harden, too.
And James Harden. Definitely don't want to forget that. And it's like now you got Durant and Steph on the same team. And, in the case now, he basically ended up having to give his players over. Well, I'm sorry. Wait, let me go back. I'm giving wrong information. I'm jumping my gun because I'm talking about the Magic story because they're talking. All right, so Magic. One of the articles that I did save. So I'm human. I messed up. I'm gonna get myself right. Pelinka did have Kobe as one of his big names. He actually had Buddy Hield by default. And you, like I say, correct me if I'm wrong. He gave his clients, to other agents.
So within his firm. Yeah.
Right. So that way, because they couldn't officially make him GM until all of that was taken care of.
It has to do with like ethics or something of that nature. Yeah.
Right.
So
Conflict of interest. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So you get, you got him coming in. He's worked with Kobe. Is there a possibility Kobe might come back to work with LA?
To help? That's possible. That's possibly why Magic brought Pelinka in. Mm-hmm. He's always said that if he gets the job with the Lakers, he wants to bring Kobe in.
Okay.
That'd be the first thing he wants to do. I don't know if Kobe wants to do that yet.
Okay.
But it's possible Kobe may jump in jump in the flow of it.
All right.
With the Lakers though, it's important to like harp on like patience with them, you could say.
Yes.
Because there's a bunch of just young talent. I feel like he did the right thing in trading away Lou Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you could pretty much say tanking.
Yeah, you have to because you're tanking. In this case, you're tanking to work towards. I don't want to say the Lonzo Ball sweepstakes, and we're gonna go into that later because that's, as y'all know, I do the ass of the week each week, and we're gonna get into that. But
still,
you're tanking to get a good pick.
To get a good pick, and also we're seeing the young players right now. The core, we have like 7 or 8 players who are young,
right,
and like high draft picks, kind of you could say,
who
are actually like they're playing majority of the minutes. So we're seeing who's good out of them.
Right.
Who has promise? You know what I mean? I like the big man that we have off the bench, like Ivan Zubac or something of that nature.
Right.
He does pretty good work. I like him.
Okay.
D'Angelo Russell's starting to show more. Brandon Ingram's it's his rookie year, so I try to always give rookies benefit of the doubt because you don't know what can happen the following year, and I think with him, he needs to get weight. Oh, yeah.
He's got to get some form of weight on him to like even be in the conversation of.
He has some flashes, like when you see him like sometimes dunk on somebody or something of that nature. So he has some flashes, and that's all you hope to see. You hope to see like in the future it'll be more consistent.
Yeah.
But right now it's looking like
the struggle.
I wish there was bigs in this next upcoming draft because that's the majority of what we would need. I would say.
I'm thinking there are going to be some bigs that you're going to hear about that may be international, but I'm not trying to jump the gun on looking at the draft yet because I want to get college out the way.
Yeah.
Also because some folks are gonna make their decision. I'm going pro. Yeah. This is my chance. Like it's some players I already know who are gone. That it's not even a question. Like we go into it all the time about Lonzo Ball. He's leaving. But like I said, so here. All right. So this is what I noted because I thought about this with the Lakers, and this will probably add to a lot of what you stated. And like I said, we talked about this last week. I'm writing and I'm putting this as a more organized but unorganized and improv off the cuff type of podcast, and I enjoy it being that way because it makes it more chill, and it makes it like an everyday conversation like we would have at work.
There's no more improv than coming in
exactly
midway through the show.
That was like, and I literally, because you was looking like, do I come in? I was like, come on, you good? We in church. Just come on, have a seat. I would never do that because like it makes it, you can just come right on in and just pull a topic. So, they had an article that Bleacher Report did about Magic, and they brought up core values of winning. This is where all my names, Steph Curry, Durant, Blake, and Chris Paul came up. One of the core values towards winning that they're looking at for Magic to be working on next season is pulling free agents. Because pulling from the draft works,
But the Lakers have always been known for their free agents.
Yes,
Shaq. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So,
Kareem.
Do you feel as though? All right. So the core values they put were patience, finding the balance. You talked about patience earlier, so I'm agreeing with you 100% on that. Finding the balance is really going to come down to Walton getting the chemistry in place with what he has.
And balance, or patience also in the fact that you don't want to spend money just to get somebody
Agreed.
who's not like a superstar. You don't want to spend too much for somebody as they did with Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng. You want to pay the right people. You want to pay the right superstars.
You mad about them too. I can tell. Yeah. I can feel it. That's why I told you, and I'm telling everyone who's listening, I wanted this to be the podcast that I'm using the past term to its full potential, because I was like, I know he's going to get an LA tangent that I can't give because I'm the biased Houston fan. So I got to but I'm still a sports head. So it's like, I'm going to talk about it in general.
Think of it like this. Both of them are getting paid more over the next 4 years, more than Curry got on his last contract.
That tells you a lot. That tells you a lot, especially, and then factor in, like you said, he's one of the big names that's on the block for a free agency. So if you look at it and think of it as Steph has, in his contract that he re-signed or negotiated or whatever the case may be, he has, and I want to make sure I get this right.
He's a free agent this summer.
He hasn't, because he's unrestricted, right?
He's unrestricted.
Okay, yeah. I was paying attention. See, I'm proud of myself. I did homework for a change. But yeah, so you got Steph is unrestricted, Durant's unrestricted. Now
He's a player option.
Yeah, player option. Now all of these names are important because you know what's important about next season, right?
What's important about next season?
New collective bargaining agreement.
That's true. It goes up about $5-6 million, something of that nature.
And that's why everybody made all this uproar. And I don't know if I talked about this on any of my podcasts, but I may have. Kevin Durant took the 1-year option strictly to get a big contract.
Yeah, he's opting out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't knock him for doing it, but I'm just looking at that as an important factor. Like I said, so another one of the core values was the draft. And I put this in bold letters for myself because I really am emphasizing this, and you will agree with this, of course. Use your picks wisely.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you kind of you pretty much going through the revolving door. But I feel as though Magic coming in can literally give a true understanding of look, this is what we're trying to do in LA, and this is our goal. We're not sitting here saying we're trying to build a championship, but we want to at least get back to a playoff-based team.
Yeah, you want to be in contention, and then when you're able to get that player, so you get over the hump, and then you're able to make championships for years to come. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't just want it for 1 year; you want it for years to come. Yeah, that's what the Lakers have always been good at. You know what I mean?
True. I agree with that. Every bit of that. That's why I'm emphasizing this. I'm sitting just listening and talking because this is the story where I'm just chilling because I'm I think LA has a chance to get it right now. This is the chance to do it because right now teams are gonna go through a lot of transitions. I feel as though Portland's kind of stayed on their stagnant road.
Falling off kind of.
Right. Yeah, last year. Exactly. And see how their fall off factored in to LaMarcus Aldridge, which we'll also talk about later. You have, San Antonio's always in the top. Yeah. Golden State's always in the top. Golden State's going to pull pieces to get where they need to get as far as placement. After the top three teams, it's trail mix because you got right now. I mean, you got Westbrook pushing I'm sorry. The Thunder.
Did you hear the comment about with Westbrook and Steph Curry? What happened with that?
What's going on?
A little sidebar, kind of. You could say. So Steph Curry was asked a question about who do you think is MVP? Besides yourself, who would you consider MVP?
Right.
And he was if I had to answer that, I would say Harden.
Right.
Just due to what he's doing for his team and the record, when he has to play option in it too. Yeah. He said that, right? So then some reporter asked Westbrook. He was like, have you heard anything about people asking players about who they think MVP is? He's like, no, I haven't been paying attention or anything like that. They said, did you hear what Curry said? Curry said he would choose Harden just because their record and things like that.
Right.
He's like, what? Who is he? He's like, what? No, I didn't care. Who is he?
Oh, shade, major shade. But that's how you. I will always give credit where it's due. Westbrook is a competitive player.
He don't like anybody who's not on his team.
Absolutely not. And I think that's what people need to get in their head. If you have not learned anything else, and I'm saying this on this podcast today, Westbrook has no problems with Kevin Durant. The issue with Kevin Durant is they're not on the same team.
So he don't care for him.
So because you're not on my team, you're an enemy when it comes to me playing basketball. Mm-hmm. So that's why, because I mean, people don't realize this with.
Well, they could have been friends off the court if he would have been.
If he had handled the free agency thing, we can't go back and fix that. That was just done horribly wrong.
It'll take years to.
I mean, even the little alley-oop playing the All-Star game didn't really. I mean, that did something, but it didn't cause enough to like make it where it's like, oh, okay, everything's great. No, you got to give that time because I mean, like anything, time heals wounds. So I looked at that and I'm waiting to see how that all turns out. So, like I said, it's when you get into the playoff run, it's gonna be just a lot of trail mix. I don't have the story listed, but I'll go ahead and throw it as a 2%. What's his name? D Wade is being benched for the rest. They set him and they just gonna let it go for the rest of the year.
How do you if you think if he could go back, he would still go to the Bulls in free agency instead of just?
I think he went to Chicago.
He's too prideful.
Yeah,
too prideful.
And I feel like he was waiting for Miami to do what they knew they weren't going to do. They weren't going to pay him no max. You can't pay. You're not going to give Wade a max payout at his age. Wade is not Flash. He
got them 3 championships though.
I'll give you the 3 championships, but you can't. It's the NBA is always going to be about what have you done for me lately, and that's the biggest fight that I feel comes up with.
I feel like that's why the Lakers get so much. I don't know.
Bad.
Some people thought it was bad that they gave Kobe his payout like his last couple years, but it was also a sign of respect of like what he brought them. You know what I mean?
Kobe,
and they would have just showed respect to.
Kobe built a legacy while he was there. I will say that, and that's nothing. And Shaq, I know you do podcasts. I'm gonna apologize. I'm not taking nothing away from you as far as what you did for the game. But that combination between having Kobe and Shaq on the same team and getting it running what you were able to get, like they got their 3, and then Shaq left, made his moves. Kobe got 2 more. That's not bad. I mean, that's not a bad run. Like, I think the only thing that Kobe went through that I just never got over is they would never let him be Kobe because it was always him being compared to Michael Jordan, and I understand
he wanted that comparison.
Well, yeah, he wanted
to be greater than Jordan.
He wanted to be greater, and he made it clear when he did certain things, such as he made his number. He was initially number 8. I still feel like he did number 24 to prove himself to be better than Jordan since Jordan wore 23. I know that's probably way left field, but I always feel like that's the case. But yeah, that's kind of my little two.
He's the closest to He's the closest to Jordan in my opinion.
Yeah, that's valid. So I'm wanting to make sure, because I'm being fair, that you've gotten all that you need to get out about LA, because I don't want you to leave no page unturned on this, because we will be keeping an eye on this, and I will bring this story back, and this time you can't blame me because I'm not talking about it, because I was the one that jinxed everything when y'all was 10-10, because y'all won 9 games since then, right?
Well, 10 games since then. Actually,
10, okay.
10 games.
My bad.
We're second to last place, which we're in a good spot to get the top 3 pick, which we need. And we're heading in the right direction, you could say it, but the only thing that happens is one lottery ball falls the wrong way.
It's a downward spiral, yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Tough. But let's
pass it on around. So we're going, like I said, I wanted to give the LA flow a little bit of a story, because I felt like I gave it a little bit of attention, but having all of this happen literally in a matter of 2 weeks just made for a good amount of substance. So turning away from that, last week now this is kind of going to be an overflow story. So it's going to kind of mix into what I have, and I've got my brackets up.
Okay.
So I'll let you work on yours, getting them prepped. Last week, doing my podcast on Saturday is a gift and a curse, and here's why. You know what yeah, because you can feel it, right? You know what it's about to go. Because as you all know, last week we were listening on the SEC game for Kentucky. Kentucky ended up getting a 2 seed. So Sunday came, and of course Sunday is the infamous selection show Sunday.
Yeah.
So I watch, and I always love how college basketball does this. Always pay attention. This is a fact for all of my sports listeners who are tuning in who know college basketball. They do all the mid-majors, they do the majors, and then they do these tournaments on Saturday night and Sunday before Selection Sunday that have the oddest impact on the brackets. Prime example, Big Ten game. The Big Ten championship, that one game, even though it may not have had a huge dent, it factored into a lot of seedings to some degree. Because that what you had Wisconsin against Michigan. If my memory serves me correct, because I want to make sure Michigan won that game, right?
Yeah, correct.
So by Michigan winning,
you think it flipped their?
It flips seeding because Michigan ended up getting a 7 seed. Wisconsin is an 8 seed, and they were on a different side of the board. Spinning it on the other side of it, there were teams, and me and you talked about this, and this is where I'm really about to go. So this is I'm yanking the mic, and I'm being the true sports fan, but honest viewer, unbiased about it. Mm-hmm. I have no knock against Duke getting their 1 seed. Their 2 seed to some degree. And I understand it was North Carolina had the better record because that was what we kind of came to an agreement on looking at it as. Yeah, they had the better record as far as,
and they won the ACC
and they won
regular season.
They won. Okay, there you go. So that's all right. So here's lessons that I've learned this over the years of watching selection show Sundays as well as watching the tournament flow. Winning the championship, the conference championship, is good. But it also can be bad to some degree depending on how the regular season went. And if I'm remembering this correctly, because you might be able to pinpoint this, and I wouldn't even, me trying to get the stats and pull this would be like blind. Mm-hmm. Duke and North Carolina played during the regular season.
They played 3 times.
They played 3 times, right. Now, Duke won.
They won the first one, and North Carolina won the second one.
Okay.
And then Duke won in the ACC semifinal.
Okay. Got you. And that's how you ended up getting it to where it was. Okay. Yeah.
And I think UCLA deserved a 2 seed though over Louisville, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. We see this is open mic because this is where we kind of like chew into it now because I was looking at it and I was like, why is Selection Sunday the day after the podcast? But I was like, it is what it is. UCLA got cut short. But UCLA got cut short in a unique predicament. And we went on this too because when I saw the bracket, I think I texted you or it was like a conversation that happened immediately where I was like, this is an interesting scenario because you have UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina.
Wichita State too, I feel.
Wichita State. And
Cincinnati's pretty nice.
But you got Butler.
Yeah.
The shocking part is I might surprise myself. I feel like I did it on both. On both of my brackets, I had Minnesota losing.
Okay.
Like that was the weirdest pick that I got right. And it's kind of exposing it to the next side of it because, like I said, I did 2 brackets. I did one on Bleacher Report and I did one on ESPN Tournament Challenge. I did one with my group. I'm not sure. I know folks were trying to get into it. I don't know if it did or didn't happen, but nonetheless, it was up there. If they are listening, if y'all checking this out, my bad. I was having a moment, but it was a unique week. That's the best thing I can say. The one thing that I'm shocked about on my bracket so far. Now, my ESPN one, I'm gonna make sure. ESPN, I didn't get it right. ESPN, let me make sure. Yeah, ESPN, I didn't have it the way I was expecting. On my Bleacher Report bracket, let me make sure I'm looking.
Have you lost any teams that you had going far?
Okay. No, all my going far teams are fine. Like, I weirdly chalked. So, all right, March Madness 101. Chalking, of course, is when you take the higher seed and just kind of coast them through.
This was a good year to do it.
Right.
Most of them actually did.
Yeah. Now, my Final Four is way off because I'm going to see how this goes. Of course, I was biased. I had Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, and Gonzaga.
Mine's pretty close, actually.
Okay.
I have Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, and Arizona.
Okay.
I have Gonzaga actually losing to West Virginia in the Sweet 16, which West Virginia's actually there, so so far I'm on a good start.
Yeah. Now my other bracket, like I said, I had it practically the same. I had Duke, Gonzaga, Kansas, and then I had UCLA. So I got UCLA winning one, and I got Kentucky winning another. And it wasn't that I was going against Kentucky. It's just stuff happens, and I know, and I always in the back of my head, I thought about Kentucky playing UCLA early this season, and
it was at Rep Arena too.
Right. That was an odd situation because now most of these games are on neutral floors.
You want to know a fun fact?
What's that?
You know how we talked about earlier how the NCAA for basketball finally changed it up so they release early the top 4 seeds for each bracket, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Since that was first released, there's only been one team that hasn't lost a game.
Okay.
What team has that been?
Is the boys in blue?
Kentucky.
No? Kentucky is okay.
So Kentucky. Yeah. They're the only team that hasn't lost since the release date of that. So they've been on a hot streak.
Did not know that.
And you usually want to choose the team that's on a hot streak, so
it kind of runs.
I'm obviously gonna be a bias, low key.
Yeah. No, I mean, but you're supposed to be.
But there's also facts behind it. They also had a scare their first game, kind of. You could say.
9.
Mm-hmm. You could say that will wake them up.
Yeah. Now this is what I was mentioning earlier. Like I said, on my tournament challenge for ESPN, just it's all kinds of just everything. Just I look at it and just accept it for what it is. Bleacher Report. I got the Midwest section. As of right now, all accurate.
I got the South section all accurate.
Really? Okay.
The other ones I have one team in each one that messed up.
Yeah, my
I didn't call the SMU USC game.
True. The South screwed me over because I think I was looking for Kansas State to surprise and they didn't. And I think that was the only one that I got messed up on. So the South I had all except one. The Middle Tennessee was my shocker, and the Rhode Island one I'm still I couldn't process that I did it, but it happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like I said, we'll kind of double check it, and next week we'll do our bracket checks again. I probably have a feeling. I mean, I can't throw my computer because it's online, but I got physical brackets that I keep and always look at to remind me as well. So what I have on as far as the links, I have the links for the games that are played as they occur. So pretty much, I'm kind of giving you the cheat code of if you search for March Madness, it's going to show you the games that are played on that day, the games you may have missed, kind of giving you stats and updates, things of that sort. So this is I guess I can call it the injury spin.
Well, wait, before we go on to that topic,
go ahead.
I had another one about the March Madness. Did you see the play in the Vanderbilt game?
I did not. What happened?
It was towards the end of the game. They were up 1. So they had just made a shot. They were up 1. Mm-hmm. They were running back down on defense. About 15 seconds left or so, something like that. Vanderbilt's running back on defense. The coach is pointing at the player, the offensive player, saying guard him.
Yeah.
The defensive player is thinking he's saying foul him. He's
thinking so he fouled him, and
he fouls him. They shoot free throws. They go up 1. They end up winning the game.
Oh my gosh, that would have. And see, I'm mad I missed that because those I feel bad because that probably would have been honorable. So we'll make that honorable mention for Ass of the Week this week because that's just a bonehead play. I'm catching, and I'll admit I catch games kind of as I can because it's so many games, and the way that I would like to watch them, I can't. So I'm working on that. We'll talk about that off show because yeah.
How do you feel about the first 2 days though of March Madness? Overall, what would you have a word to describe it?
My one word would be consistent. And the only reason I say consistent is because it's consistent to the format of March Madness, meaning it's not going to be, like I said earlier, I don't like chalk. I like blindsided picks. And when it's a blindside win, it's okay. Like a 9-8, The one, and I'm still holding it, but I'm not sure if I'm glad I'm scared because if I didn't do it, I know I didn't do it. As far as Michigan State,
I would say my word would be uneventful because I haven't seen really too much.
Nothing too wild.
Oh yeah, nothing too wild.
Okay.
A couple of them you could see coming, like Middle Tennessee, upsetting. I saw that coming. I actually have Wisconsin beating Nova today.
Okay.
So.
I mean, Nova's a different team. I'm looking, because that game is
it's on right now. 22-19. Wisconsin's up.
Nice, and see, that shows why I messed up not refreshing. So yeah, it's just I always know like some games trying to pinpoint it and catch it right is like the toughest thing to do when it comes to the March Madness flow. So yeah, this, like I said, we're gonna see how next week is. If it's okay, we're gonna talk about March Madness, and I had a bad week, and let's talk about something. If it happens that way, bring me back because I'm guilty. I will be in my feelings for a little bit about it. So we got a good flow going so far, and I'm letting y'all know now we're past our 45-minute mark normally, but this time we can talk. So I'm not like, oh my God, I can't. We're gonna let it rock because this. I knew the LA story was gonna be a little long, but I wanted that to be long because that was a key.
No usual 100 words in 60 seconds.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we're not trying to force feed the storyline of, as Twitter goes. You can't do 140 characters, and no, we want to get that one off the ground. So I kind of got some. I don't want to say strange, but I got unique injury reports, and I'm gonna let you. I mean, this. Okay, first, bogus out for the season. First question I think of when I realized this was, you picked up somebody that you already know is injury prone.
He played, I believe it was, 50 seconds or something of that nature?
Yeah. He has
out for this.
He has had the worst luck with injury.
I don't mean to laugh.
No. If you have a chance, go back and catch a video when he played for Milwaukee and he got injured. It was the most horrendous injury I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It was like I'm tempted to say it was in one of his first three seasons. It was an injury, and of course it sidelined him for a good while. So he has not had the best luck with injury. And then the worst part of it is he was the number one pick, and he was in the early stages of the one and done flow that went down. But he was at Utah, if I'm not mistaken. He played college ball at Utah, and he was like number one pick. Good prospect, big impact, and he's had decent years, but it's so weird because I think about it when he was with, and it's neither here nor there now, but when he was in Golden State, I was just thinking to myself, why did you leave Golden State and you was on the team where they actually he was a benefit to have when it came.
Money for him.
True. No, I got it because you got to pay Durant, you got to pay Steph,
yeah,
you got to pay Draymond Green.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I play Klay. Yeah, I think
get paid too.
Yeah, Iggy earned from the year before when they did win the championship because everybody, I think, didn't expect what happened to have happened in Game 7 as far as the block because it's like Game 7. I know that this is reliving history, but it's like Game 7 was known as the block and the shot. Because it was the block by LeBron and it was the jump shot by Kyrie, and it was like a big uproar as to who did more and made a bigger impact in the game. And I honestly can't. I don't know if it's fair to put one over the other because
out of those two,
yeah,
I'd say in that series, who did more?
Yeah,
who was more important was Kyrie Irving.
True,
but you could say LeBron did more.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wouldn't have won the championship without Kyrie for sure. They wouldn't have been there without LeBron.
Yeah, because especially, you had the series where they both dropped 40, and it was such a big game or a big deal because on NBA 2K they made literally a moment card just for those. So yeah, there's my techie plug. I got that covered. So I put the Tyronn Lue story for giggles. But I also put that Larry Sanders was excited because Larry Sanders, so he's not from here. He's from Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
But he went to VCU.
That's what I was trying. I was gonna reel it back to the main hit. He was like a big name here when it came to playing basketball for VCU. He definitely made his mark when it came to the Rams while he was playing. He went pro, was in Milwaukee for quite a few seasons, and in 2015 he had 2014. I'm sorry. He had I don't want to say that. He was going through his own mental things, life, and he just his main. I mean, long story short, his heart wasn't into the game.
Yeah, he checked into a program for like anxiety, depression, and mood disorders.
Yeah, I was close to almost ruining it and calling it the OJ phase, but OJ Mayo just was stupid. I don't know if you knew about OJ Mayo because he's pretty much kind of almost banned from the NBA.
Well, he's more like on the, you could say, Ricky Williams stage.
True.
Like,
yeah, because he needed what he needed to get through what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I said, I have links for all of the stories. So if you want to read more in depth as to what I'm referring to, it states and is put there in black and white regarding that. I feel as though Sanders is going to be a good piece to kind of give players rest as needed and kind of be able to he adds a body on the number one. He's giving you 6 fouls. He's giving you space on the floor. Because the one thing, and I'm not sure if we've talked about this, but I always bring this up when it comes to basketball. What makes or breaks a lot of teams and a lot of chemistry being the way it is the floor spacing. A lot of times, and I used to get mad about LeBron. Used to get mad at LeBron for this, but when he plays, when you have a stand around offense, it's the hardest thing because that you just have it's not enough spacing to work the ball as it needs to be.
Just dribbling up at the top. Yeah, it happens.
So I've seen that and I've thought about that, but yeah, like I said, I put the Tyronn Lue story initially, but it was mainly just good to see Larry Sanders back.
And he's also like a big who can play defense,
exactly.
Like block some shots, like do some like
as long as he doesn't get an early injury, which I don't see happening. I did not talk about this in the last podcast. I'm not going to have an image for it. I'll apologize in advance. Deron Williams was picked up to kind of relieve minutes for Deron Williams, excuse me. Derek Williams was way further back. But Deron Williams, who was a big name for the Jazz, he's kind of been, I almost want to say a trailblazer for the NBA because he's been to like multiple teams kind of as I don't want to say trade bait, but he's kind of been like, well, he's working for us for what we need right now, but by him not benefiting in the long haul, they kind of just get him on to the next team. So he's with Cleveland, relieving minutes. I believe J.R. Smith just came back.
Yeah, he did come back.
Kevin Love just recently came back. So getting Cleveland at full strength is going to be interesting when we get down to the last few games.
He's been more like of a mercenary.
Yeah,
Deron Williams. He played pretty good for him to start off.
So. Yeah. I mean, he's doing what I'm expecting him to do. I'm not looking for Deron Williams to come out. Yeah, like I'm not looking for him to come on the floor and get 15 a night. Granted, there's not many guards bench other than Lou and when Eric Gordon did that, but that get he's mainly just there to kind of be the distributor and just kind of manage the ball. I just, like I said, and I say this all the time, and I harp on it so much. I have no knock against LeBron. LeBron's a great player. LeBron just got to learn how to share it because for whatever reason, I see him dominate the ball a lot. Like one player that I always used to use as an example, and you would never think about it. Remember, Rudy Gay.
Yeah. Rudy
Gay was a professional, 24-second shot clock, at least 17 seconds he'd had the ball, and I couldn't put it together, but. I haven't heard much about him recently. I'm not sure.
He tore his Achilles.
Oh, so he's out for the season. Okay,
yeah.
So hopefully he can come back and have a breakout year. I mean, I think it may be beneficial because having him and Buddy Hield together in Sacramento would be good. So next story is kind of strange, but it just kind of happened the way it did. I saw the initial story, and I was like, oh. The Spurs are going to have a tough time because LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be out indefinitely.
I thought the same thing.
So when it was indefinitely, I'm thinking, all right, well, he's going to be out for a minute. And, so to kind of give the backstory of what happened to him, he went out on March 11th with what they call a heart arrhythmia. He's been dealing with this health condition for quite a few years. He has been diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. I used to know just Wolff-Parkinson disease, or syndrome, and I didn't realize that. I just knew Parkinson's. I didn't realize that it was, Wolff-Parkinson-White. So it's a much different view for me. It's mainly an abnormality you have based on your a rapid heartbeat. He's been dealing with this since 2007. So I mean, you look at it, 10 years. It's a tough process. So the Spurs kind of knew what they were taking on regarding this, but it's also wasn't the worst thing in the world. To kind of turn it into a positive, he was able to recover, I think, within a game or two. He came back. Was a little rusty on the floor, but I mean, regardless, he's going to maintain and manage his spot on the floor as to how he fits with the team.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't life threatening.
Exactly.
Chris Bosh has been out for a year and a half now.
That's what I want to go to, and I guess that was kind of like, and it's good. I was thinking about it when I talked about the story, but I don't have it listed because I know we talked about Bosh a couple of weeks ago. Aldridge has not something as tragic or as treacherous, but does his situation, like, do you think the Spurs are going to be concerned with doing anything contract wise with him because of that? Do you understand? Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Like, do you think they're gonna change his contract, try to reconstruct it or something like that?
Yeah,
he's already signed on one.
Okay.
Because he signed one for them 4 or 5 years, something of that nature. So
right.
He signed on them for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think
they're probably not gonna deal with it as bad as I'm just being. It's not even me being petty. It's me being confused because
I was too.
Because the Chris Bosh situation,
that's how I compared it to.
Yeah, right. It's like you look at those, and that's how, like I said, this is why we're doing this episode or doing these podcasts. Because Dimitri thinks how I think is just unexpected. Because I look at stories like this and I wonder, okay, I'm glad he's okay, but then does it affect what comes up in the future for his career, or for his?
Does it shorten his career?
Right.
I don't.
Because you look at it right now. Bosh is in his third. He would have been his fourth. This would be his 14th season.
So
14th season, and it's almost as though the Heat are holding him hostage. That's how I feel like I look at it.
I don't think he could play for anybody though.
Exactly,
because he can't pass his physical.
Yeah,
so I think that he's gonna have more. I think Aldridge is gonna have more physicals going forward.
True.
To monitor that, to make sure nothing else does occur. Because if something else does occur, he's gonna be in the same position as Chris Bosh, just sitting on the sideline with nothing to do, his hands tied behind his back, pretty much.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that was the main reason why I threw that story in, and then it was just like I said, it was so quick because it just was like, all right, well, he's okay. I was like, good, I'm glad, but I was like, he was just down a second ago, but it was an article, like I said, I have the link for that as well. He was a little rusty in his first game, and I mean that's given because even with you going and doing practice and just kind of doing shoot arounds and maybe doing a little bit of contact, it's not the same as a live game. It's a much different process. So this is what I would define, because as I said, as you all know, this is the podcast about sports and stuff. So this is the stuff that an example of the stuff. And I've told a few of my friends, and I'm telling you all now to prepare. I'm still going to be doing my episodes every week in April, but April I'm going to be doing it, Dimitri. This is a surprise for you. I'm going to be doing what's called Podcast Every Day in April. So I have episodes that I'll be scheduling. I have topics that I'm going to be working on. So I'll be having an episode uploaded. I'm not going to be working on it in the library. I'm going to kind of just be breaking out the mic, working on the episode. It might be random, and just kind of, I got different topics that I'm going to get into. Some of it's a little work related, but it won't be exposing too much. And he knows what I'm referring to, and we'll go over that off air.
Okay.
But the tab I have now, or the link that I have, was something that kind of caught my attention because we all go through stress, we all go through frustration, we all go through a lot of things in our lives, and it can take an impact on us in small ways. One of the toughest things to gain or maintain is inner peace. This is kind of going to be my little, I guess I can call this a tangent, but it's also like just kind of a bit of a way to get folks to kind of ease off, and it's like, hey, I'm talking about sports, hey, I'm talking about video games, hey, I'm talking about this, but it's like something a little different. They have a story from the Taoists about what is inner peace, and that's defined as self-acceptance. One of the hardest things to do is to accept the way things are, or kind of go with the flow of how life occurs. Sometimes life comes at you 100 miles an hour, and you're either forced to just drive with it, or you just take a break and it's like it's still going. But you still have to like take that 2 minutes to that moment of just reflection. I know for me personally, and this kind of is like a super random thing, and I ain't gonna even. I'm a lot of people have seen me do it, but I'm slipping on doing it, and I need to do one because I got a reminder about it on my watch. Any users who have the Apple Watch, a lot of you probably don't even do this. There's a program that comes up every couple of hours called Breathe, where it basically says, okay, take a minute, sit down, just breathe. And it literally makes you breathe. And for some people, you look at it and think that's the stupidest thing in the world.
Relaxes you.
Right. It really does relax me. And a lot of times, we both, Dimitri can relate just like I can. I have a pretty calm aura about most things. Yeah, some things will get you riled up. It's human. You can't flip that switch. But in moments of people getting aggravated and angry around us, either it's throwing on some music, playing the game, kind of just chilling, getting into that level place. I like I said, I'm not really gonna chip too aggressive with the article. You may have read it more in depth than I did, and if either or, it's like I just kind of wanted to bring up just how important it is to just kind of come to like a moment of just, and this is kind of almost like I'm doing it now. I'm just sitting here like I'm just kind of chill. Like this is the chill moment of the podcast. Like I mean, even when we talked about sports, it ain't like da 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 da. It's just like we can have a fluid conversation. Like I've had, a few weeks ago, I did a podcast and it was the most random podcast, but we were all calm and we were all just having a good time.
Yeah, with this article, I found it very intriguing. I read some of it.
Okay.
And it talked about Zen practice as well as Taoism.
Right.
And Zen is where you just ask questions. You continue to ask questions until your mind's tired of asking questions. You just you finally just let go.
Yeah.
Taoism is just you just let free of questions, knowing that sometimes there is no answer to that question. Just let it be. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just means so why harp on something that's not going to change? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt that, and it's also talking about your inner peace, just having acceptance of yourself, having acceptance of what things are.
Yeah. This is like I said, this was a heavy story because it just hit me, and I was just sitting there like, inner peace. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it because I really want to get some input and talk about this because it's something a little different, and then I think it's an added bonus. And spinning it back to sports, anybody who knows, and you already know this, being a Phil Jackson fan or being a Lakers fan, you had Phil, who was known, of course, as the Zen master. Yeah. So, he was real. He really, he still believes to this day. I just think it's strange because names the Knicks and you have no inner peace going on. But even regardless, it's just an amazing thing because something as small as just taking time to just kind of I have a podcaster who I follow, Ashley Taylor. She does podcasting. I want to say, I'm making sure I got this right. Majority of her social media I'm plugging is A Taylor L. She's been kind of my undercover inspiration with podcasting now because she does a daily podcast.
Okay. And
basically, I've listened to her episodes, and she talks about how, every so often we should just take a time. Right now, and I really didn't realize how important it is, but it helps. When I do my podcast, when we work on the podcast, I turn my phone, I have my phone on, I put on airplane mode, do not disturb. Because I'm it can wait. Hopefully it's nothing urgent. If it is, I'll get to it when I'm done. Because I want to put my time strictly into the episodes. I've mentioned this to people before. I think I've told you about this. And you weren't here to hear this story, so I'm going to kind of give it again because to give you a bit of to put it in perspective. when I first started the podcast, the microphone that we're using didn't have it. The microphone before that Dimitri didn't see because I broke it at MagFest, I'll tell you about that later, I didn't have it. No, I'm sorry, I had it, but I didn't use it because I didn't know what I was doing. I recorded my episode using the same program I was using that I'm using now for Spreaker. Recording, talking, I'm like, oh, I'm in the mic, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Played it, listened to it, didn't sound right. Went in the settings, realized I was using the microphone on the laptop. So the story blending in today is I came in, because I was telling you, I was like, yeah, I'm late, I might not be here, I'm getting in this time, whatever. I looked in my car, got my water, got my stuff, left my bag from my microphone. So I'm like, okay, I cannot do a podcast with this microphone. Though people have done podcasts with the microphone for the Mac, no. So it's a much different style, because I was like, all right, cool. I got my microphone. I'm good. And it just kind of gave me the balance of what I was doing. But going back into to break down the podcast story, when I first started my podcast, all my episodes were so chaotic. They were like, I got this, I got that, I got this, I'm doing this, talk about this. I would maybe have tabs. I might have information. Now, as I've learned it, like I said, people don't realize this. I've been doing this for 2 years. So it's like now I've got it down where it's like, all right, let me go ahead, take Tuesday to kind of start finding stories. Mm-hmm. Let me get some more stories maybe on Wednesday, but don't have it too much, but still make it a good episode. Because I feel like everybody...
Because there's going to be more.
Exactly. Because stories, you don't want to miss stories. And, like I said, first episode that I get to do 45 minutes, I done broke an hour. But, and we still got one more topic. It makes the podcast flow much better. So that's why I've made my goal of making sure when I do my reservations of where I'm doing my episodes now to last for the 2 hours, whether it's producing, preparation, etc., whatever. I've gotten it down where it's things that I have already preset, so that it's like, all right, when it's time, this will go up, this will be here. I can just copy and paste this, and it's like, all right, I don't have to deal with a whole lot of chaos. First, I would just record and be like, all right, it's all done. Let me start typing real quick. Oh, wait, I got to put this hash. Nope, nah. So it's just called learning and lessons, and it's like just trying to simplify things and keep your inner peace to it. So, spinning from inner peace to ignorance at its finest, I'm gonna let you have this one.
I actually found a link. We're talking about LeVar Ball.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. Okay, Lonzo Ball's father, who plays for UCLA. Mm-hmm. I actually found a list of. It says, ranking LeVar Ball's 10 most outlandish claims about himself and his sons.
Okay.
10's not so bad.
Okay.
9 is like, if Charles Barkley, you know how they had their little tiff.
Mm-hmm.
If Charles Barkley thought like me, maybe he would have won a championship.
That is...
And of course, Charles Barkley's response to that was, oh, my fault. I didn't remember. I forgot about the Ball era when he was winning all these championships.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Go ahead. Now, I want you to do this one, because I'm gonna say I have so many things that I'm like, my brain has been dying with this story.
He also said my son will only play for the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You know how he said he's about it. We already got our own brand.
Yep.
Triple B's Lonzo is going to be the first one drafted with his own brand.
Yep.
That don't happen.
Yeah, that's actually gonna happen, because I didn't realize their brand has been out so long.
He's got offended when people talked about his sons. This next one,
mm-hmm.
I felt like I don't have really anything to say about him saying anything about his sons.
Yeah.
So I think about like if my dad was saying those things, like who's gonna tell the dad to stop saying something like that to your dad? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? That you've been raised with him. You know what I mean? It's your place to make your comments, right?
True.
Until he started talking about LeBron's son, saying like, you got LeBron, it's gonna be so hard for his kids because they're gonna look at them like, you got to be just like your dad, and like,
wow.
And he's saying that people who are great,
mm-hmm.
their sons aren't like good and things of that nature.
In his defense, I kind of can get it a little bit, but it's not every. It's not. Yeah, but you can't get it to every. You can't give that to every player, every athlete, because like the first one I always think about is Michael Jordan. One of his sons.
He played college, though.
Yeah, they played college, but they did dumb stuff.
And then he said Kareem's got sons Michael Jordan's got sons. Shaq's got sons. Shaq's son right now is actually ranked top 20 in his class.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I've seen him. I've seen Sharif. I've caught some Sharif highlights. So yeah, I'll give him that.
And he said all 3 of his sons are going to be one and dones, which Lonzo is. I don't know about the other 2.
Yeah, Lonzo's gone, but I think LiAngelo. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. LiAngelo's he's going to be he's going to UCLA this coming year, which is going to be interesting because he's going to have him and Jalen Hands there.
Well, there's going to be more than him. There's like 5 ranked players they have coming in that are higher than him. Mm-hmm. Like they have like Cody Riley, Jalen Hands, Chris Wilkes, and a couple more. Yeah. He also said how he wants $1 billion contracts. The part I found that was funny to me is how he said, this is his quote like verbatim. Okay. $1 billion, it has to be there. That's our number, $1 billion, straight out of the gate. And you don't have to give it to me all up at front. Give us $100 million over 10 years. My thing is, why is it about giving it to you? Isn't it your son's contract? Right. Sometimes it sounds like he's making it more on him instead of his sons. Yeah. That's what I get sometimes. Okay. Another one of his funny comments was when he said, "I'll tell you right now, he's better than Steph Curry to me." And then he said, "If you switch them on which team?"
Yeah, that one. I've been hanging on to that one for a while. Like you have not. He hasn't stepped on the floor yet. I'm gonna let you get everything because I
haven't even got to the
to the meat. Okay.
To the best one. Number one is back in my heyday, I would kill Michael Jordan 1-on-1.
Yeah,
that one I found the funniest.
Right. So this is all right. So this is a unique ass of the week because initially I was pointed as LeVar and Charles, but then I listened to what you just shared.
It's just like a little icing on the big old cake.
No, it's like the alley-oop setup because now here it is. They already are being placed with high expectations. Any player who comes in, and we both have seen this. Players come in with such a high expectation, and some of them do not live up to the hype. Prime example, Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is good.
Well, he's actually doing good, though.
He's doing good now. But it was like, when his first couple of years, it just, some players just get put in a tough, all right, I'm going to go there because you know me. Julius Randle.
He's doing
it now. We got this is third or fourth year.
Yeah, no, he's not like a star or anything like that. Like the thing with like Lonzo, it's like he can handle. It seems like he can handle the pressure. It's just like you're setting it up so if he does fail, now people are going to point the finger at him. Point to these other things. You know what I mean? So it's like you're adding extra pressure that doesn't need to be there.
True. I feel as though LeVar needs to just, like, a lot of people have said this, and I 100% agree with it. LeVar needs to just, if he wants to do media time and talk and do all of that, that's fine. Leave the kids out of it. And I know it's easier said than done because they're the reason you're getting the attention, but it's like, if you're going to do anything, be supportive. Like, be...
My thing is, like, how is he going to try to disrespect? He's going to be disrespecting like some of the greats of all time, like Charles Barkley and with Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. He's disrespecting a couple of the greats that are in the league right now, Steph Curry and LeBron. Right. By talking about LeBron's son, you're disrespecting him. Yeah. And I'm saying, how are you going to disrespect greatness? But then if your son wants to be greatness, it's opening the door so people can be disrespectful to him.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about, all right, so here's a spinoff of that, and no one's thinking about this. And I now that you mentioned, that triggers something that's very interesting. The media is never closed. Plain and simple. You understand what I mean when I say that. So LeBron may not be personally thinking about it now because he's trying to focus on getting a championship, but you don't think that his PR people or that his media, his folks who handle things like that aren't noticing that or aren't going to hear about it? Yeah. So in the event that Lonzo goes to the league, they play against Cleveland, and he happens to check them, and it's like a true, okay, I'm trying to go out and drop 50 against whatever team he plays. I'm sorry, the Lakers, since that's where
he plays against the Warriors.
Right.
Steph Curry's
Steph will try to go off. I mean, and in Steph's case, it's going to be even worse because he's actually a point guard.
And John Wall even said that it's like his father's not making it easy for him in the league because then point guards are going to want to go at him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, you want to build, and I say this. This is literally my aggressive, another one of my aggressive moments. your reputation or your rapport goes a long way. When you first, just like when you had first met me, on our job, I'm approaching it like, look, I'm chill. This is who I am, and this is what I do. I ain't gonna be on some. What are you doing here? Why are you coming up? No, I want you to understand how I am. So it's like, in that time frame, here it is now. A little over a year or nearly a year, whatever. It built the rapport where, hey, it's like I can come to you and say, hey, let's work. Like, this is how we kind of roll with the podcast. Because I was like, Demetrius in the sports, I'm in the sports. This would be like a legit setup. And then you're learning new things and picking up on new stuff that you would never, because like anybody, some people, a lot of people look at music and it's like music is so intense because, we know folks who music is they eat, sleep, and breathe. And I mean, to me, I do too, but I also give it a balance. So saying all of that to say it as you building a rapport goes a long way. And LeVar is burning bridges that aren't even attempting to be built yet because you don't know what could happen. Like, I'm giving worst case scenario to make a point. Lamar can come in, not Lonzo coming to league first year. Heinous injury, out for the season. Then what? You've done all of this talk for him, and in the NBA, people don't realize when you're somebody who's like a hot commodity, players come for you.
And he also said how maybe he wouldn't beat Lonzo wouldn't beat LeBron and Russell Westbrook 1-on-1, but he'll beat them 5-on-5 and things of that nature. It's like you're adding so much pressure on him, just like so.
Yeah,
he's gonna win everything.
I think I'll say this though, Lonzo Ball is going to be a good player in the NBA Lonzo. Strictly because he does what a lot of point guards or a lot of players in the NBA don't do. He thinks of passing first. A lot of people don't see because everybody look at it like, oh, he out there just trying to score. No, he really is a distributor. He's the true definition of a distributor.
Reminds me a lot of Steve Nash.
Yes, Steve Nash,
athletic and tall, but athletic and taller version.
No, I mean, and see that's the toughest part because y'all caught him at the end his rope when he was in LA.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nash was on the end. I think Nash was trying to play his best as long as he could, but it was time. He had to let it go.
Yeah.
But the thing with Nash when he was in Phoenix. A lot of people don't realize there was a big fuss about him getting the MVP certain years. I always come back to this and I always think about it. If you take Nash off of the teams that they had, you would not.
Kobe deserved it one of those years.
Kobe, no. I'm with you because there was a year. And we're going away from LeVar for a second because he got so much to work on. There was one year that, and I think I told you about this, Garnett should have got MVP.
Yeah.
And he didn't because it wasn't how the season went as far as the playoffs came around because they got knocked out the first round.
Same with Kobe. They got knocked out by the Suns that year.
So when you have that factor come into play, then it causes it to be, well, we're not going to give it to you. And literally what happened was the next year, Minnesota made it back, and they got out of the first round. They gave it to Garnett.
Yeah.
But with LeVar, I'm gonna say this, and I've seen them, and this will probably be our cap because I did not realize we've been talking this long. But this is a good podcast. And thanks, by the way, if y'all have made it this far past the hour in the 18-minute mark, I appreciate it because this is new, so I was crazy because when I started the podcast, the first thing I said, well, the episodes shouldn't be 3 hours, but now I got to see. I might have to work on some stuff, but we'll see how that. We'll let that be what it is. This in this case is a little different.
We'll work on it.
I'm looking forward to Lonzo playing. LiAngelo's gonna be interesting because LiAngelo has a unique IQ for basketball, and I've seen it in some of his older videos. Mm-hmm. He has a way of being a post player, despite his size. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's about 6'6". He's about 240. Though.
Right, because what he does is, and I never realized how important this is, because you see players do it and you don't think about it. He uses his offhand to feel where the player is, and that's how you generate because when you look at that highlights at Chino Hills, that's how the lob pass was like the cheat code. Because as soon as the ball was coming, he's feeling for the defender. Like, okay, where's the defender? All right, this is the defender is. All right, let me get the ball and let me start working on my post game. once he has his post game set, it's pretty much an isolation, and most teams, depending on how they pull it off, can make it work.
I don't know if he's athletic enough to make it to the league.
Yeah, he's gonna need a couple of years. Yeah. I don't want him to do one and done because he really needs people. Okay, I'm gonna say this.
He may be undrafted if he
one and done. I think people need to realize, and I don't know what it is. The NBA is not going anywhere. Sometimes folks forget that. They really got this thing of, I got to go to the NBA. I need to be a lottery pick. Because if I get a lottery pick, I'm going to make this much money. But if you make that money, that's only a rookie contract. Your rookie contract is not golden. That's just something to kind of... Yeah, you want to work on that. You want to work on that sign, getting that decent contract with a signing bonus. Because no one knows this and no one really thinks about this with basketball. Players play for the signing bonus. Your base contract, that's solely on the basis of you going out there, you playing, you staying healthy. You may have a few games you might miss here and there, but that's fine. Did I make the All-Star team? Did I make first team All-NBA? Was I a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year? If you get those type of incentives, that's what that signing bonus work out for you. Mm-hmm. So, a player like LiAngelo has the ability to be a factor in the NBA. It's just going to be an odd position because he won't be he'll be able to be on the block at a small forward, but they'll more so have him as a guard, which would be tough. LaMelo's the funniest to me because LaMelo's the cockiest out of all of them. LaMelo just doesn't care.
I don't know. He's still young, so
he'll grow. Yeah, we got another 2 years. Because I've seen it. I looked at some older highlights, and I've looked at how he plays. His first, his non high school games when he was playing, when they were on the ball team or the Ball Brothers team or whatever.
The AAU team.
Yeah, the AAU team. He was just mainly learning how to just get in comfortable rhythm of just shooting. Uh-huh. When he got to Chino Hills his freshman year, he still had the slingshot. I call it the slingshot. He just had the slowest jumper because he had to have time to create that jumper. But then over time, he got comfortable and said, all right, I'm going to start learning how to drive. This year, his cockiness or his arrogance is why they lost a lot of games and why it went the way it did between their state tournament, their state championship, and their
tournament.
Their CIF, yeah. Because you could see how he was playing and how it all kind of came together. And it's nothing to take away from any of the other players. It's just I noticed that with him, especially when they played the game where it stood out for me was when they played Oak Hill. Because I've seen a lot of the guys from Oak Hill, and I've seen one of the guys, Billy Preston, oddly enough a Kansas commit, but that's another story. They were Oak Hill knew how to play them because at the beginning of the game, Chino Hills was kind of able to do shots and kind of rush it and play their own game, and then second half Oak Hill just kind of ran them down, and they couldn't keep up with it because you have to play. It's either you play your game or you play at your opponent's game, and they were forced to play at Oak Hill's game, which kind of stuck them as to where they were. But LeVar Ball, all I keep thinking about is what he said, 2.2 points average. That's all I think about with him because they've been on him about his point average. But yeah, despite the fact that he averaged 2.2 per game in his 1 year at Washington State, he's also wanted the $1 billion shoe deal.
And then people say because he said how he did better the following year when he went to D2 and averaged 18 and 10. I'm still saying he was in D2 while Michael Jordan was in the NBA winning championships.
Yep.
He had no chance in playing against Michael Jordan. Let's be real.
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, I think he's now. I will say this, and this will probably be my cap. I know I was supposed to cap early, but whatever. He is a good leader in getting his boys NBA prepped, but they're also going to still have to learn the ropes of college ball and NBA because I didn't realize this until I watched it and really kept track of it. There's such a process. There's so much of a process in the NBA because no one thinks about when you're a rookie and you get this contract and you get this deal that it's all right, I got this money. What do I do now? You can learn how to do all that stuff, and some of it he may be able to teach him and he may be able to show him. But the NBA's the NBA, like,
it's a different monster.
Yeah, unless he gonna be personally taking his boys wherever they going, they gotta learn. They gotta get adjusted to the road trips, to the as you call it, as they call it, the groupies, the social media. Because social media is has lack of chill when it comes to players, especially when you're a superstar. Like with Steph caught and got his high. He did good when he won the championship. Everything was fine.
On him.
He got it was the villain. Same with LeBron. LeBron caught every time I think about LeBron, I always go back and look at that decision. The decision could have ruined his career, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something to me that I found to be very like strange, because I don't need, if I'm making a decision to go somewhere, I don't need to sit in a chair, be it the Salve at the Boys and Girls Club, sponsored by Powerade, and I got all these sponsors, and y'all spent an hour talking about what everybody already knew. And then you go there, you win. I mean, he won what? 2 out of 4.
But they went to 4.
Yeah, they went all 4 years. And, you go back home, and it's like, all right, now I'm trying to get one for the land. And he did. So now it's like, y'all still on his back, because it's still in the eyes of the media, nothing's gonna ever be enough, because you always want more. Like Westbrook, until Westbrook gets that first championship. Even matter of fact, I'm not even gonna put Westbrook. Let me back up. Durant going to Golden State is really gonna be interesting, because this year it's gonna be the huge
Unless
talk.
Durant's out the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah, because his injury, he's still down right now, right?
He's down.
Yeah.
There's no talks. They're gonna reevaluate him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think at the end of this month. So they still have time without him.
Right. Now, did we talk? Now, this will be my last. This will be the final piece. Did we talk about Ben Simmons yet? Because I'm trying to remember, did we talk about Ben last week? Because Ben. So Ben, and this is added content. It's not on the link. I apologize now. He did announce that it's not announced, but he has been doing what's called 5-on-0 practice.
Okay.
So it's basically, they have him kind of just working out, but they're not giving him like contact, because they want to make sure. I feel like they're doing, as they called it, trust the process. So they're letting it kind of just pan out as it is.
Which is smart, though, because if they fall below the Lakers, they can try to push the Lakers out the top 3.
Yeah.
Ended up with 2 top 10 picks, which would be beneficial to them.
Yeah. So, last question. Do you think if the Lakers don't get a pick, that they're going to try to trade to get a top pick? Or how do they have, like, if they don't get the top 3, they're out of, are they just not able to get a lottery pick?
If they don't get a top 3, then it's going to be tough. Yeah, because they don't get a lottery pick, and they lose their 2018 first round pick if they don't fall in the top 3.
Because of the clause. Okay. Now, that was based on, who did they pick up because of that?
I don't even remember.
It was like okay.
This was a few years ago.
Gotcha.
It would go to Denver.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought about that, because it was an interesting. It's just a odd or interesting scenario. All right. So,
as a Laker fan, we don't want to think about that
scenario.
We
don't. No, you don't. You want to keep the positive attitude. You got to stay on the right path with it happening. So I've gone 11 minutes over my room time, and I've gone nearly an hour and a half with the podcast. But it feels good, because now I don't feel the episode being rushed. I have time where I can like mess around with this, give it some little edit, some flair. But Dimitri, thanks for coming. I appreciate it always. I know we sit and like, yeah, man, we like, this is, like I said, it's getting better because it's getting simpler, and it's just gonna get better as we move along. So, any closing remarks before we drop the mic?
Yeah, sorry about coming late, and thanks for whoever stuck with us throughout.
Yeah, if you stayed past the 1 hour mark, like, I give you props, because I know probably people are gonna be listening thinking, Brian, you had a 45-minute episode. How did it turn into an hour and 28 minutes? But if you have listened this long, the Lakers part will be probably the big part, but it was understandable, because I did want to get that out there. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, which will be next week, y'all take it easy. Past Podcast signing out.
All right, we'll do better next time.
You know it. Peace.